Hello everyone. If you hear a lot of noise in the background, I am outside in the courtyard of one of my favorite cafes, and the cicadas are having a party in the trees. So you got some special effects going on today. But I wanted to piggyback and continue with part 2 of the quiet quitting. I spoke in a previous audio about quiet quitting, how it came about, and I gave a lot of detail as to how that came about. And I also wanted to tell you guys about some of the ways people quietly quit. So I wanted to go ahead and talk about that. There are some other people that are out here, so hopefully you can hear me. If not, I'll just bring the microphone a little bit closer to you guys. Between the cicadas and the people outside, there's a lot going on. But anyway, I mentioned before in the previous audio, when you quietly quit, a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll just do whatever is required within the time frame. They don't offer any overtime. They don't come in early anymore. Another thing that people do when they quietly quit is they don't do any additional duties like they used to. Like, for instance, volunteering to do extra duties that really aren't part of the job description. And the funny part about it is a lot of employers, when they offer contracts or make job offers to people, especially in the office areas, they'll turn around and say, oh, you're going to do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. And then at the very end, it'll say other clerical duties as assigned, or other duties as assigned, or duties assigned based on the needs of the company. See, that's their loophole to try to get you to do extra work. And then that way, if you don't do the extra work, then all of a sudden you're in violation of your contract or your terms of employment. You got to be real careful with that, guys. So anyway, another way that people quietly quit is, let's just say you're working a job where you have been given time. Like, you've got a ton of sick time, you got a ton of vacation time, you got a ton of PTO, you got a ton of leave, and you never used it. You could have been with the company 5, 10, 15 years. I've seen this with a lot of people. But people get tired after a while, and that's with any position. People get tired. So what people start doing before they quietly quit or retire is that they start taking their time that they have. And sometimes that causes a problem with management because they're so used to that person being around. Like I mentioned before, like a piece of furniture in the house is just stationary, doesn't go anywhere, doesn't do anything, it just sits there. So they expect you as an employee to sit there and do that as well. Now, keep in mind, not all employers are like this. I'm just trying to give you a definition as to why people quietly quit. So what the person does is they start using their sick time, their vacation, their leave, and everything else. And initially, that's what it was for: sick, vacation, leave, personal. But then a little bit later on, when they start to realize, when they take the time off, that they really actually enjoy the time that they earn, and they understand the whole nature of what's going on, and they realize when they come back to work that the world didn't end, the job didn't fall apart, it didn't happen. So when they realize that they could be gone for like a day or 2 or 3 or 4, then they're like, okay, well, you know what? I'm not as essential or as important as I thought they were. I thought. Well, the problem is that your name is not on the outside of that building. And I used to tell people at my previous job all the time, you are important, yes, and they will tell you that you are important, yes, but the truth is that you are not the owner of the building. There's a certain level that you have to accept, that you are only going to get away with so much as far as being an employee. You only have so much value. There's a cap on your worth in that company because that company does not belong to you. And that's just the truth. So when people start taking all their extra time, for different things, instead of an hour or 2 here or there, they're taking whole days off. They're taking weeks off. They're taking the time that they're going to need for later, because later has already come. They've already decided, and this is for a lot of the folks that I know that are semi-retired or retired, they're getting to that point where they're sick and tired of seeing the same shenanigans at work all the time from different people, different managers coming in the door, programmed to do the same thing as the previous managers did, employees revolving, coming in and out, especially if it's a place that has high turnover. And high turnover is partially due to money, but in a lot of cases, high turnover is due to bad management. A lot of people can work a low-paying job as long as it's good, but they can go ahead and make some money on the side. Some people don't mind that, especially if they don't have that many obligations. But if you have a high turnover, 9 times out of 10, it's because of management, inconsistency with management, bad management style, too many managers. I've always heard the phrase about too many chiefs and not enough Indians. That's a classic case. It's confusing, and I can speak from previous experience from my previous job that we had 5 managers in my department. And on any given day, you had to decide in your mind how you're going to work or how you're going to communicate or what to expect performance-wise from a manager depending on who you're dealing with. Now, I got along with all of them. I didn't have a problem with all of them. But it did require some additional mental energy every single day when you weren't sure what was going to happen because you don't know what manager you're dealing with. So quiet quitting, that's where that comes in. People start using their time. They start using it for different things. And like I said in the beginning, it could have been initially for sick or, personal matters with family and home and things like that. But over a period of time, when they realize how easy it is, they start using that time to look for other opportunities, to work on building a business like I did, to go ahead and set up everything for their retirement. It just depended on what they wanted to do. So they started making their own plans in order to move on during the time that they were given. And that's what happens. So I kind of hope this helps people out, understanding the concept of quiet quitting. That's basically what it is. Instead of just, walking on out the door 2 weeks notice, what they'll do is over a period of time, they start detaching themselves, pulling their energy back from the job, from the toxic workplace where they were at, and just start living life on their own terms. And, in a way that's kind of good. It's bad for the employer, but it's good for the employee because some people, you got to understand no matter what business that you're in, you're still human and people get sick and tired of things all the time. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Peace.